Howard, you ready?
Shem Yerachem. Rabbi Segal says, Rabbi Segal is a major tzaddik. Rabbi Segal said, Corona will finish when Mashiach will come.
I heard that.
The lights on.
I heard that.
Rabbi Segal.
I heard that already a few times. From
We're
different
already
people.
recording. Rechavot.
With your permission. The book of redemption, simple explanation means that we coming out of slavery, we're going to Eretz Israel, hopefully. And it's really, at the end of the book of Sefer Shemot is not so bad, because we did the Mishkan. But all these people that came out of Egypt, there's 600,000, only 2 of them at the end got to Eretz Israel, the rest died in the desert. So really, it's called semi-redemption. It's not to be proud of. If somebody is a slave and they tell you, listen, you get out of slavery, and next day you're going to die in the desert. So why went out of slavery? And actually, that's why Israel told Moshe Rabbeinu in the desert a few times. When they felt that's a time of danger, they said, why did you take us out of Egypt? But at the end of the day, you see they were right. What's the sense coming out of Egypt if no one will get to Israel? And to emphasize, 600,000 people came out of Egypt, and you're so proud of yourself, and that's the number that counts, and do not disregard the elderly or the youngest, or the younger than that. It means this is really the core, this is the most important part. If somebody's going to ask you, coming out of Egypt, you don't tell them this, a few million came, ladies and children and older people, no, we're talking about 600,000 people. That's what Hashem wants. Those 600 never got there. So it means it's a bankruptcy. It means you got to the desert, and a year later everybody died. So what was it? Everybody died. They died within the 40 years. But the decree was that those 600,000 will never reach Israel. So what's redemption? It's not redemption. Nevertheless, again, the name is not something that you have to worry about. What you call it, you can call it anything. What's really the purpose of it? So that's this parasha. The Torah tells us, Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu that I heard Am Yisrael suffer so much and they scream so much, and I want you to go take them out. And I want you to take them out to Eretz Israel, to the place that I promised Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. And Moshe tells HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what is the privilege and the merit of Am Yisrael to come out of slavery. It's hard to believe that's what Moshe says. It's hard to believe. And Moshe Rabbeinu, it doesn't have a heart of plastic. And if Hashem tells him that I have mercy on them, and did Moshe know? He did know there's a decree of 400 years. Nevertheless, Hashem said, I heard the screaming, and I can't take it, I'm taking them out. So, a regular Jew, Hashem said, you go take them out. You don't take them out. You don't wait a second. He says, instead, you argue with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it sounds like a prosecutor. He tells HaKadosh Baruch Hu what privilege they have, why they're coming out. Remember they're coming out. I told you why they're coming out. They're coming out, they have no privilege. They're coming out because they scripted me and I have mercy on them. Nevertheless, Hashem doesn't answer that. Hashem does answer Moshe the question. It's amazing that Hashem is not upset at him. When Avraham Avinu asked HaKadosh Baruch Hu a question, we ended up in exile for 400 years. Moshe did ask the question, and Hashem answers him, the reason why, the privilege is that eventually they're going to come to Har Sinai, and they're going to build the Mishkan over here. Moshe at that time, while Hashem was speaking to him, he was standing on Har Sinai. And Hashem tells him, no, that's the privilege, they're coming here. What's the answer? I don't know what's the answer. You don't need an answer. The answer is because I heard him screaming. And, excuse me, Moshe Rabbeinu, it's not your job to ask this kind of question. You are the Redeemer. And you're supposed, obviously, to argue with me if I give some restrictions, I'm going to be too hard on them. Instead, you're asking me such a question? Okay. Then Hashem tells Moshe, okay, now I'll tell you what. what I want you is to go to Paro and take some the elderly people with you, 70 people, whatever, and tell Paro that I want Paro to let you go for 3 days in the desert to sacrifice to Hashem. And the question is, Hashem is not afraid of Paro. Hashem could have told Moshe, listen, go tell Paro, like he told him in the beginning. He told him, Beni Bechori Israel. He told him, listen, go to Paro, send them out. If you're not going to send them out, I'm going to kill you firstborn. But then Hashem said to him, listen, go tell Paro that they want to go for 3 days to sacrifice. They don't go to sacrifice. We want to go out because you have no right to keep us. And Hashem said to release. You don't want to be released. Hashem said he's going to do his way until we release them. And then we left without sacrificing. Maybe it was a mistake at the end. We'll see. This is next week. 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks from now. So. But why does Hashem tell Moshe to tell Paro that we want to go out to sacrifice? We're going free. Simple as that. And the Torah continues. That Hashem tells Moshe, listen, I want to tell you something. Me and you, Paro will not send them. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to punish him, hit him, and until he's going to send you out. And this is parasha, and the Makot, the plague starts. That Hashem tells Moshe, go tell Aaron, raise your stick on the Nile, the water will turn to blood. Raise your stick on the Nile, the frog will come. Raise your stick on earth, and lice will come. And the 10 plagues of some kind of idea that HaKadosh Baruch Hu had. So the Gemara says, well, what's behind it? The Gemara says, well, it means like this, like somebody is having a war with someone. So the first thing what you want to do is to cut the water supply. So it sounds like Moshe Rabbeinu is the messenger of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And it sounds like HaKadosh Baruch Hu has a war with the Egyptians. And he's going to cut the water supply. He's going to turn the first makat, first plague turns the water into blood. And that's how Hashem continues. And there can be the frog screams, and there's the lice, there's corona, all kind of things. It was a simple explanation. But still the question is, why 10 makot? And why this way? For example, if Hashem wants, the way the Gemara says, Hashem wants to cut the water supply. Not very easy. Hashem will dry everything. Finished. It's dry. What's the difference between water becomes blood or there's no water reserve? No reservoir. No reservoir, there's no water. Why do you have to turn all the Torah says that every place in Egypt water turned into blood besides the place where the Jews lived. So Hashem is going to make a drought or something. Hashem doesn't need advice from us. And what's behind it? When you have frogs, what is really the secret of the frog that Hashem wants it for? So Chachamim tell us, the Gemara tells us, that Chas Shalom there is a gezerah. It's almost, I can say impossible, but it's very hard to cancel gezerah. Very hard. For example, Chas Shalom, somebody is sick. You pay for a shlema for the person. Sometimes it's very hard to take away the gezerah. What it is, transfers it. You transfer gezerah to somebody else. And when I was young, I didn't know about the bed sickness so much. Only a few people died from that bed sickness. And somebody had this bed sickness in Nebrak. He went to Lelo Rebbe, a major tzaddik, Rabbi Aderet. That's Rabbi Aderet's, I think, grandfather, great-grandfather. He did Nebrak. He told him I have a bed sickness. I went to a doctor. And the doctor said, it's very dangerous what I have. At that time, there was no medicine. When I was young, there was no medicine for such a thing. They didn't even have radiation yet. So the Rebbe told him, I tell you what, you come out of here, go see a bad person. A bad person. No, I told him, I don't want to say I'm on there, I don't want to say too many things. And tell him what you have. Tell me this. Would you buy what I have? I said, what do you mean? He said, tell you what, here is 10 lirot. At the time it was lirot, no, it was before the shekel. He gave us 10 lirot, you want to buy it? So the guy is a bad person, he grabs it. He said, yeah, give me, you want to give me 10 lirot? I give. So you're going to buy what I have? Yeah. So that guy that was sick got healed and the other guy died. It's a lot, it happened in the past. Few times, I wouldn't say the word a lot of times, but based on the Gemara, based on the Pasuk on the Torah, that Hashem says in the Torah that He will transfer all the sicknesses that were in Egypt, und tanam bechol sonecha. Hashem will transfer it. To cancel something is very hard. But what Hashem is going to do, He will transfer the bad things on the kapara. Likewise, we do kaparot before Yom Kippur. It's not a joke. You go and make it on the chicken, and make it on money, and you say, this is the decree, Hashem decree will go on that money, and that money will go to tzedakah. Or you take a chicken, a rooster, and you make on kapara on it. It's not a joke. I mean, actually, you transfer it on it. Hashem is a death penalty of somebody, and you're going to slaughter something, and you say, this is instead of me, it works. Sometimes the decree is so big, it won't help. Maybe you have to slaughter a few, more than one. But this is what the Torah tells us. And actually, Yeshayahu Navi, he says in his book, that Hashem told him to tell us a sentence reads like this, V'natati kofrecha Mitzrayim, kush yusva tachtecha. Navi Yeshayahu said, Hashem said, your kapara is Egypt. So actually what it means is, the makot are kapara. What does it mean? The Jews should have had it. Hashem transferred the punishment, what the Jewish people what they would have to have, Hashem transferred it to the Egyptians. They were our kapara. Who says it? Navi Yeshayahu. 10 makot, it means 10 kaparot. And here the Torah tells us a story, and we understand what's going on. So Torah tells like this. Abraham was age of 70. Hashem told him, your children will have to go to exile to a different strange country. So when Abraham was 100, these things started. The 400 years start from Yitzchak's birth. That you have to go to exile. You'll be tortured. As we know, Yitzchak was always in Israel, then went to exile. It's already 180 years. Out of the 400, you were in Israel. Even though Hashem said 400 years in exile, I said, then, even after that, Yosef was in jail for 10 years. Still, we were in Israel. Yaakov was there with his children. It's more, but at the end of the day, they ended up in Egypt only 209 years. 209. Slavery really started when Miriam was born, 86 years. The hardship when Miriam was born. Slavery started when Menashe died, 112 years before we left. So what are all those numbers mean? So Hamim said like this. What Hashem told Avraham Avinu, that we're going to go to exile. That's really a prophecy from HaKadosh Baruch Hu from his hey. That Hashem is hinting something to us. And in the Torah tells us, when Yaakov Avinu heard that Yosef is alive, He's going to Beersheba, and Hashem is going to reveal himself to Yaakov, and he will tell him a sentence. I'm going down to Egypt with you, and I'm going to go back with you. That's Hashem. I'm coming back with you. So what it means like this. Yaakov is ready to die. 2 weeks ago, we read in the parasha. He calls up Yosef. He tells Yosef, listen, I'm going to die. I want you to swear to me that you're going to take my body to Israel. And the reason is because I don't want to have lice on my body. I don't want the Egyptians to make me a god. And when Mashiach comes, the ones that be buried outside of Eretz Israel, they're going to have to roll on the earth to come to Eretz Israel. They don't get up and go to the airport. The question is, Yaakov, why don't you tell Yosef, bury me in Israel because Hashem told me that. Hashem told me I'm going to be buried in Israel. He actually don't tell Yosef anything. He didn't tell Yosef. If Hashem told you he's going to take you to Israel, Hashem will do it. So if you die, don't say nothing. Yosef will take you to Israel because Hashem told you that. And again, maybe you think it's not going to happen because something will happen. So why don't you tell Yosef, listen, Hashem told me he's going to take me. Don't tell him that because lice will come and because the Egyptians will make me as a god, as Avodah. Call up Yosef, say, listen, Yosef, I'm going to die, take my body to Israel. You know why? Because Hashem told me he's going to take me. So maybe you're the messenger of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you're going to take me. Hashem said something, Hashem will fulfill it. It doesn't tell it to Yosef. Why doesn't tell it to Yosef? Chaim explained it like this. At the funeral of Yaakov Avinu was taken to Israel, and Torah describes the funeral. The description is that Am Yisrael, the big boys, and the Gemara said we're talking about a few hundred already, a few 100,000. Coming, I don't know, a few 100,000, but I don't know the number exactly. But a lot of people, but elderly, they go to the funeral. It's to emphasize. But they left behind in Egypt the little children, this and the sheep. What's the description? Why the Torah has to tell you who was left in Egypt? Who cares? Okay. On the way back from the funeral, the Gemara tells us that Yosef went a little bit far from the way, and he went to see the hole that the brothers that Shimon threw him inside. They say he went to say Bracha Gomer over there. Then he get back to Egypt, and Torah tells in this text that the brothers called up Bilhah and told her, go tell Yosef something. Tell that Yaakov commanded before he died that Yosef should behave nicely to them and forgive them. And the Gemara says, why? The Gemara says, because Yosef did not invite them to eat with him anymore. While Yaakov was alive, everybody ate together. Yaakov died, he doesn't invite them. Sorry. After the funeral now, doesn't invite them. And then they sent Bilhah to tell them they were afraid. But they spoke among themselves, and they said, Luis Timenu Yosef. Hashem Yashiv Lanu. I think Yosef hates us. And he's going to pay us back what we did to him. And then they sent Bilhah. Information is always information. What's the secret behind it? The Gemara says, Moshe Rabbeinu tells Am Yisrael, after the spies came back, Am Yisrael said to Moshe, we think Hashem hates us to bring us over here to the desert because we can't go to Israel because the spies came back. And Moshe tells them, you don't understand. If you think Hashem hates you, it means you hate Hashem. If you think somebody hates you, says the Gemara, it means it's really you don't like him so much. It's impossible. maybe you don't understand what your conscience tells you. But don't you think somebody hates you if you don't hate him? You hate him. It starts from you. Maybe you didn't feel it, maybe you don't know it, but that's what it means. You hate him, he hates you. That's what Rabbi tells them. Listen, Hashem doesn't hate you. You hate him. Therefore you're saying that he hates you. So the brothers, they say, Yosef is hating us and he'll do it to us. You know what the Gemara says? No. You hate Yosef. And that's what the Gemara says. They still hate Yosef. They still. When Yosef revealed himself, told them, I'm Yosef, they jumped him, they want to kill him. And then Yosef told them, if Pharaoh is going to call you and he's going to ask you to, what can you do? Tell him you're shepherds. The Gemara says, you know why? Because Yosef knew if he'll give him a government job, they will put him in jail. They're going to take over Egypt and they put him in jail. Still hate. So that's the secret Chachamim say. As long as Yaakov was alive, and he tried, so-called, to cover up the patches, to patch up this machloket between the brothers and Yosef, Yitzchak is alive, the exile will never stop. Even though Hashem said the exile for 400 years, will never stop. As long as there is unity, even on the surface unity, and nothing major is happening, exile will never stop. What it means is because Hashem is here. Hashem is only dwell with his peace. There's a machloket, Hashem is not there. And that's exactly what happened. As long as Yitzchak was alive, no exile. As Hashem said exile, where is no exile? The peace, the harmony, and the love breaks the gezor. The Gemara says it. In the time of David HaMelech, people tzaddikim, they go to the war, casualties. In the time of Achav, Yerovam, no casualties. The Gemara says, how can it be? Those people who worship Avodah Zarah. And in the time of the Melech, no Avodah Zarah. The Gemara says, I'll tell you what it is. In the time of the Melech, machloket, casualties. What does it mean? Because Hashem, the Torah tells you, because Hashem goes in front of you in the war. Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu to go tell them in Egypt, told them. Already we came out of Egypt. And some people said, when the Egyptians came behind us, some people said to Moshe, let's go back, fight with him. Hashem said, don't fight nothing. Because Hashem is here. If it's a machloket, it's Lashon Hara, Hashem is not there. So there are casualties. So the exile never started as long was not a major thing. Actually, when the brothers sold Yosef, that's what happened. The machloket starts on the surface already. Before that, it was not just a big one, just talking. This was already an act. It was an action. And that's the Gemara says, exile is going to start soon. Soon is going to start the exile. And that's what happened. And that's what the Gemara says, when they sold Yosef, the decree of bitter, the life of the Jews started. All of a sudden, 86 years of being tortured so much, that's because they sold Yosef. The first few years, it's okay, the war wasn't so bad. But the whole thing is because of Yosef, because he sold Yosef. He sold Yosef, he finished everything. But what's the secret behind it? So the Gemara says, I'll tell you the secret behind it. Kadosh Baruch Hu, the Gemara says, was walking in Gan Eden after Adam HaRishon and Chava ate, and they hid themselves in the tree. They heard Hashem walks over there. The Torah says Hashem walks over there. Hashem can call them from Shamayim on the WhatsApp. So, Adam, where are you? The Torah says no. Hashem mitalech bagan, the ruach hayom. Hashem is walking. The Gemara says what it means is Hashem decided that He wants to dwell here. And only sometimes He'll go up to Shamayim, to His place, but Ikar Shechina B'Tachtonim. The main reason Hashem is here, because He wants to live here. He created this world. The core, the center of this world is Yerushalayim, and that's the base of Hashem. That's eventually Beit HaMikdash in Yerushalayim, not because Beit HaMikdash in Yerushalayim, because Hashem wants to be there, because this was His plan. When He constructed this world, it says, this is my place, Yerushalayim. That's the goal. Says the Gemara that after Ramashon did not admit that he ate and blamed his wife, and Hashem picked himself up, went up on flight. And Cain killed Hevel, Hashem picked himself another flight. And Dor Nosh did Avodah Zarah, another flight. Dor Mabul, another flight. Dor Aflaga, another flight. Dor, another flight. And the bad people in Egypt, another flight. Means that Akadosh Baruch Hu is all the way on the 7th floor now. Again, he wants to be here downstairs, but he's not. So the Gemara says, came up Avinu with his behavior, was able to bring Akadosh Baruch Hu one flight down. Yitzchak one flight down. Yaakov one flight down. Levi one flight down. Kehat one flight down. Amram one flight down. And here's Moshe is going to bring Akadosh Baruch Hu down. And that's actually what happened on Har Sinai. That Hashem came on Har Sinai. Ered Hashem on Har Sinai, it means, I'll tell you what it is. It means we want to get Akadosh Baruch Hu to its place, Yerushalayim, but it's going to be a stop in the middle. It will be Har Sinai. Har Sinai, Hashem has something in his head that he's going to come to Har Sinai. From Har Sinai, if the spies would not have done what they did, Hashem travels with us to Yerushalayim. And then everything was perfect. It means Hashem, so-called, takes off from wherever it is, we'll see in a second, and he's going to land on Har Sinai. And from Har Sinai, he is going to take off. He's not flying, he's walking in front of us the whole time. That's what Torah will describe. And eventually we get to Yerushalayim, and that's his place, Beit HaMikdash. And that's actually the Torah will describe. That when we build the Mishkan on Har Sinai, it means Hashem is inside the Mishkan. Eventually, Shlom Beit HaMikdash, Hashem is Beit HaMikdash. It means, Zot menuchati adei po eshev kiviteh. David HaMelech says in his prophecy, Hashem said, that's what I had planned and had desire. I want to be here. You don't go to Israel. You go to the place to see where is the place Hashem dwells. That's what the Rambam writes. It's a mitzvah to be Beit HaMikdash. You know why? To sacrifice to Hashem. Hashem doesn't need sacrifices. No. A sacrifice, whatever it means, it's a present to Hashem. Where is Hashem? It's next door. It's illusion that the people think that Hashem is upstairs and you sacrifice and the sacrifice goes upstairs. No. The plan is Hashem is in Kodesh HaKodeshim and you just do it outside. And from outside Hashem see you, what you do, and he's on the same floor with you. That's the plan, if we behave. So the whole idea coming out of Egypt is not exodus, it's not redemption. So why are you coming out of Egypt, you know? Because we're going to go to Har Sinai. And you know what Har Sinai is? We're not going to get a Torah, no. The Torah is only a tool that because you get the Torah, Hashem is going to come down. And that's what Torah says. And Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu, prepare the nation for 3 days, and after 3 days I'll come down. Huh? Here Hashem tells the same thing to Moshe, go tell Paro, that we're going to the desert to sacrifice. You know why? Because Hashem is going to be at that place we're going to sacrifice. 3 days, the same 3 days that before we got the Torah, it's supposed to preparation. Preparation is here. We have to go to the desert to prepare ourselves, and then Hashem is going to come down over there. So we're going to give our HaKadosh Baruch Hu presence. That is the plan of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But it only works if you have unity. If you don't have unity, it's not going to work. Actually, the Torah says, the Gemara says, before Har Sinai, Hashem made a trick and made like an apparition of everybody's heart, became one unit. Lev echad ki ish echad. And says then Hashem came down. So 100%. In time of Shlomo HaMelech, everybody was united. Hashem came to Beit HaMikdash. But that's the goal. The goal is unity, but not because unity, because then Hashem comes. If you don't know unity, Hashem doesn't come. The brothers, what they did when they sold Yosef, but they did actually what they did is so-called, they made HaKadosh Baruch Hu so-called to wait to come downstairs. This is the sin of the brothers. And for that sin, they sold Yosef, they deserve a big punishment. Like somebody pushes HaKadosh Baruch Hu away. So there were 10 people involved in selling Yosef. So 10 people have to get punished for what they did. Likewise, the Gemara says, "Ten Azar Malchut, Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Gamliel, and Rabbi Chutzpit, all these people, they died. because this whole thing was never fixed. But Egypt, the 10 plagues, is not because Hashem is torturing them and Hashem does it to them. Because actually you, the kapara for Am Yisrael, Navi Yeshayahu said, you 10 brothers, you were supposed to get those 10 plagues. And every plague that Hashem gave power to the Egyptians was made for the Jews. And the Jews saw what happened, they have to think what it is. How come Hashem decided to do such a thing? And here's some of the examples. For example, the first makkah is blood. It's called dam. Dam, and the word Adom comes from the word dam because the blood is actually red. Reuven, his stone that was on the Kohen HaGadol's chest, it's called Odem, a red color stone. What happened? Yaakov Avinu, before he dies, he called up Reuven and he said, listen, you know what the problem is with you? Paras Kamaim. You lack water. Why are you acting like this? Why do you act like this? Actually, what it means is that Reuven's so-called the bad part in him, Yaakov compared him to water. Therefore, Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu, listen, when you have Reuven's name on the chest of the Kohen HaGadol, it's going to be next to a precious stone. It's called Odem, but the word red. To remind Reuven, listen, you Mr. Red. So actually, Reuven, you participated indirectly what happened to Yosef. He took the money that was paid for Yosef's sale. He bought himself shoes with that. And says, you're supposed to get this. You're supposed to get a punishment like this, that wherever you are, you're not going to have any water to drink. It's called starvation. Well, I will make the Egyptians your kapara. You, Mr. Shimon, the color of the stone of Shimon on the chest of the Kohen was green, like a frog. The frog jumps here and there. And says, this is Shimon, he'll jump from here and there. You're not going to have any territory in Eretz Israel. Actually, he never got. Yeshua divided Eretz Israel. The only tribe that didn't get any territory was Shimon. At the end, they were sleeping on the streets like homelesses. And Judah had mercy on him. And since Judah got a big property, Judah called him and told him, listen, Shimon, okay, I see you didn't get any property. Yeshua is angry with you. Moshe was angry with you. Okay, Sab, I'll give you some property and put some tents over there for you and your people. As a frog. A row of animals come. The beast, the 8 people on the street. This is Yehuda. Mitev Nialita. Yehuda is like a lion. And Yaakov, when he talks to Yehuda in his blessing, he said, I thought you ate somebody. What do you mean I ate? Because you were involved. You were the master of that sale of Yosef. So you should be eaten by animals too. And the plague that Hashem gave to the Egyptians was a kapara for you. It's a grasshoppers jumping with the feet. They said, Mr. Naphtali. Yaakov said, Naphtali ayah shlucha. I said, as grasshopper, all these power is the feet, and this is Mr. Naphtali. So every punishment, every plague is something that should have happened to the tribes because they hate Yosef. And because of that, the exile started. But again, it's not with Yosef. And because they sold Yosef, it means Hashem could not come down quickly and stay in Israel. And Hashem told Yaakov, I'm telling you, you go down to Egypt, I'm going with you. I'm coming back with you. But it's in one condition. And in Egypt, everybody's going to behave. The brothers will come back to Egypt and will apologize to Yosef, and it's going to be a harmony between everybody. There wasn't harmony. There wasn't harmony. Reuben and Shimon had Jewish slaves underneath them. It doesn't say they tortured them, but they gave them a hard time as slaves. They weren't united. They weren't united when they came out of Egypt. At the time to come into Yam Suf, the Gemara says Binyamin was the first tribe that jumped. And Moshe says, go in. So Binyamin jumped. Shevet Yehuda took stones and started to thrust on them, who are you to jump first? Pride of people. Why are you stoning Binyamin? Moshe said, go ahead. So I have to wait for Yehuda. I'm in danger. The Egyptians are behind me. So I have to follow Yehuda. And if I did, he threw stones on me. And then the Gemara says, Gozei Absolutely Gzarim. That every tribe had his own path in Yam Suf. They couldn't go together. What happened? And the golden calf also. Each one wanted to have a golden calf. The problem is not united. Not united means no Hashem. No Hashem means the goal of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the destination, the task is not being fulfilled. That's the problem. So the book of redemption, it doesn't mean because came out. It means that's Hashem told Moshe, listen, the privilege of Am Yisrael, that they come out of Egypt, they're going to go to Har Sinai. They're going to do Mishkan. It's not a Mishkan. It means it's going to be a house for God. Be a house for God, but this time down to Egypt, it's enough for you. So I'll die later. Who cares about that? I don't care. Person should not be afraid of death. As long as he knows that the purpose of this creation of this world is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to dwell here and he wants to have a house. As long as we came to Har Sinai, we did a Mishkan, so after that, what? The 600,000 people didn't go to Israel? Who cares? I don't care. I don't care. That's why you have to give your life to Hashem. That means you have to give to life to Hashem. What is this? I want Bet HaMikdash. I want Hashem to fulfill His will. His desire is Yerushalayim. When you go to Israel, it's not go to Israel. I'm going to Israel because the Chazen Hanim Shachal Tzemach and it says, I want to see Hashem in Yerushalayim. This is my goal in life. And that's what the mistake at Amarishon and then kind of, and all these people that happened in the brothers, they did not let Hashem come down. That's the problem. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with His mercy, because He loves us so much, and He tells Moshe Rabbeinu, I heard the screaming, I'll take them out. But you, I'm telling you, the real reason is, that's what Moshe asked Hashem. What privileges? What are my privileges? No. Hashem, I know. For me, we go to Israel. But I don't see them coming to Israel. I don't see them united. And actually, he was right. Hashem made like a trick. All of a sudden, in front of us, everybody was united. But actually, we weren't united. After Har Sinai, immediately was started Machloket again. But this is just a message for us, Mashiach. Mashiach is going to be with HaMikdash, not with HaMikdash. It's a place for Hashem to dwell. That's the goal in life. So a person should have this desire in his head. Not that I want to see Mashiach. Mashiach is going to be with HaMikdash. The Zohar said, forget about Mashiach. You should daven to Hashem, and HaMikdash will come from upstairs. That's the biggest thing. But the goal is, we want to see Hashem here, Rabbi Aderet.